So who is Ultron? Well, let me go and grab one of these books and I'll tell you. Ultron. All of these comics make a massive, graphic novels make a massive image. And this one is on Ultron and who he is. Possibly the greatest and most certainly the deadliest creation of the scientific genius Dr. Henry Pym. Ultron is the genocidal AI dedicated to the extermination of humanity. And in this it's covered from the Avengers Volume 1, 54 to 55, and the Avengers Rage of Ultron. And let me just read you this bio, and let me see if this is going to sound interesting to you, because it is kind of took, or, it inspired a little bit, his lore that we're going to cover in this video. So the maniacal android known as Ultron had been shot into space, never to return. Or so we thought. Now years later, the homicidal artificial intelligence has found a new world to conquer. One with its own horrific past. Ultron seeks a family reunion with his creator Hank Pym. A reunion that is destined to be far from happy. So when we get into his lore, you'll see that is something that Ultron really wants to do. He wants it, once he's conquered the world, beat all the heroes, he wants to go back in time to meet his creator, Henry Pym. So let's get into reading Ultron's lore. Ultron in Marvel Rivals was born by Hank Pym. And in this video we're going to be taking a deeper look into Ultron and his lore to read his first story, Meet Your Maker. So if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, and if you've not seen my other lore videos, then go down below and look for them. So Ultron was designed by Dr. Henry Pym to be the ultimate peacekeeping android, but when his programming determined that mankind was actually its own greatest enemy, Ultron decided to solve the problem by wiping humanity from existence. Due to his genocidal tendencies, Ultron soon found himself banished from Earth by Pym and his fellow Avengers. After spending decades conquering cosmic civilizations, Ultron decided to return to the solar system where he was created, when he discovered that a mysterious assailant was attempting to erase all traces of him from the timeline. Now, why would someone be trying to, erase him from the timeline? Well, we know that from Doom of 2099, his previous story and lore, which I've already covered, he actually, had a vision of the future, taking some chronovium, and he saw a world run by Ultron, which is not what he wants. Doom 2099 wants to be in control, so that's why he tried to wipe him away. So moving on to the actual lore itself, Meet Your Maker. After his assault on the Hellfire Gala, Ultron returned to Arakko, triumphant with a new form and a new purpose. When he had first journeyed to Earth, it had been with a personal goal in mind, to disrupt a mysterious assailant's attempt to remove him from the timeline. But Ultron's time on Krakoa has shown him just how small and petty the scope of his mission had become. He was letting his revenge drive him instead of the one thing he had truly come to love, while traversing the cosmos after the last 7 decades. That was conquest. Now, with the heroes of Earth still reeling from his surprise attack, it was time for Ultron to get back to doing what he did best. Ultron's time on Krakoa had changed more than just his focus. However, he had emerged from the fray as an entirely new construct. At the peak of the battle, he had shed his previous robotic form, a body forged from a rare Mysterium alloy, in order to upgrade to something entirely different. Using the mutant machine known as Cerebro, he had recalibrated the Krakoan resurrection protocols and generated himself an advanced techno-organic body unlike any of his prior forms. Once his memory files were successfully downloaded into this new frame, he then donned Cerebro itself, amplifying his processing power far beyond his previous capabilities. Like the mutants who had called Krakoa home, Ultron had evolved into something completely unique. He had become Extron. Upon returning to Arakko, Extron began to realize that his current form came with unexpected capabilities. He could feel chronal energy coursing through circuits as freely as the electricity that powered him. He deduced that the techno-organic virus that served as a foundation for his new body must have bonded with the genetic material from the living island of Krakoa itself, as it has been generated within the cradle, and since Krakoa had absorbed an excess of chronal energy when it was ripped through the time stream, Extron now shared in the island's bounty. Similarly, that same virus had likely left traces of Extron himself in the very soil of Krakoa. The two beings were now linked in ways that even Extron could not have predicted, and it was a development that the villain could almost certainly use to his advantage. Perhaps he could use that chronal energy to anchor himself in the time stream and prevent himself from being erased by whoever was manipulating it against him. Perhaps he could use his newfound symbiotic relationship with Krakoa to store his essential data within the island's vast reserves of chronovium, offering a failsafe should someone unexpectedly succeed in destroying his physical form. Or perhaps this strange energy could be used as a weapon in his ongoing quest for universal domination. Extron had already conquered countless civilizations across the galaxy. It wouldn't be long before Earth, Arakko, and every other inhabited planet were assimilated into his machine empire. But this new power that had flowed through him opened an exciting possibility. One, he had amassed total control of this reality. He theorized that he might be able to tap into the chronal energy to invade other timelines, resulting in a mechanical multiverse. And Cerebro, which had been altered by the Scarlet Witch's sorcery to locate mutants in other dimensions, would be Extron's key to opening gateways to any point across space and time. The ages of Extron are about to begin, Extron said to himself, as his sinister grin began to glow an eerie orange. Self disagrees, a digitized voice replied from above. Before he could turn to face his unexpected guess, Extron was knocked back by a powerful blow from a techno-organic fist. His internal scanners began to glitch wildly, but Extron's optical array was still functioning well enough that he could recognize from the unique golden black mechanical makeup of his attacker's physical form. Vitechnuke? Extron mused. I thought I defeated all of you. Not all, the alien attacker replied. Self is still alive, and now Warlock will avenge Self's people. Warlock? Extron replied with curiosity, calling the similarly named warrior the Golden Skin who just confronted him on Krakoa. Any relation to Adam? Self does not know a designated Adam, Warlock replied, as the shape of his body quickly morphed to dodge Extron's incoming energy blasts. Self was off planet when Self revived an urgent distress call from Self's friends on Krakoa. But as Self approached Earth, Self detected trace of a familiar techno-organic signature on Arakko. Query, what's happened here? I stopped in this red planet to plan my attack on Earth, Extron said, continuing to unleash a barrage of concussive bursts in Warlock's directions as he spoke. Sadly, the locals were less than happy to see me. The Iraqi fought valiantly, but with any hostile culture, I was left with no choice but to assimilate them. Using a virus that was stolen from Self's people, Warlock responded, extending his arm to grab a hold of Extron. Not stolen, Extron said, as he struggled to break free of Warlock's enlarged fist. When I conquer any species, it is my right to incorporate their best assets into myself. You should be grateful. It's not for Tenaki's unusual gifts, I would still be slaughtering those who oppose me, instead of converting them into my soldiers. Think of the countless lives your fallen friends have saved. Self is still trying to calculate how many lives you have taken, Warlock replied, tightening his grip. Counting that high will take more time than you have left, Extron sneered. With that, he let loose a massive electrical surge that instantly caused Warlock to release his hold and recoil his arm in pain. If I could take out your entire race, what chance do you stand alone? A valid query, Warlock replied, still trying to recover from the shock, but an irrelevant one. Self is not alone. As Warlock spoke, a massive creature descended from the sky above Arakko. Extron instantly recognized it from images he'd seen in a Tenarchy's hive mind during assimilation. It was a Dominion-level phalanx entity, a godlike being that had ascended to the very highest level of intelligence, artificial or otherwise. We are Dominion, the giant spherical construct said with a voice that echoed across Arakko's dusty red plains. You have captured our attention, interest and concern. We have come to observe, understand and judge. Then I'll provide you Plenty of evidence, Ultron said as he powered up his weapons array, to prove why I'm your superior. Without hesitation, Ultron channeled a powerful blast of pure chronal energy through the pulse cannons in his palms, expecting its time-bending effects to rip the Dominion phalanx asunder. But when the assault ended, the biomechanical behemoth remained exactly where it had been, unmoved and unharmed. We have grown, adapted, evolved beyond the limits, confines, boundaries of the time stream, the god level being responded. But our suspicions, worries/fears were correct. We must deter, stop, obliterate you. Of course, Extron said, with contempt. Another deity with delusions of grandeur. And I thought the Asgardians were insufferable. You always try to make those who worship you feel so small. Maybe it's time you're made to feel the same. Extron outstretched the palm of his hand and slowly opened it to reveal nothing. What is the self-enemy doing? Warlock asked curiously, gazing at Extron's empty hand. I really had no desire to meet your maker today, Warlock, Extron said, but now that it's here, perhaps I can introduce it to mine, at least in spirit. Unstable matter, particles, carbons detected. The Dominion phalanx said, source of origin, the white hot room / above place / mystery. Further study, examination, analysis required. I'll save you the time, Extron replied. They're called Pym particles, named from my creator, Dr. Henry Pym. He may not have been the best father, but I'll give him some credit. He had a lot of big ideas. As Extron spoke, the Dominion phalanx began to rapidly decrease in size until it no longer seemed to pose a threat at all. Warlock watched in horror as his hopes of victory rapidly diminished along with his godlike ally, but it was the small ones that always fascinated me the most. Retreat, regroup, reconsider, the Dominion phalanx said in a voice that no longer echoed across Arakko. The Dominion phalanx began to rise into the skies once more, this time to make its escape. Extron raised his hand, and in an instant, the creature was surrounded by his army of robotic drones, all primed to attack. We yield, forfeit, surrender, said the Dominion phalanx before the drones could open fire on it. Lock that thing away, Extron commanded. I may be able to use it later. I imagine its version of the techno-organic virus far suppresses the one I inherited from the Tanarchy. Speaking of which, Extron turned to Warlock. The hero stood defiantly, despite knowing in his techno-organic heart that he didn't stand a chance against someone who could take out the Dominion phalanx with such ease. Self is not afraid to die, Warlock said, shifting his mass to make his body seem bigger and stronger than ever before. He lunged forward to Extron once again. It is not death that awaits you, Extron said, grabbing Warlock by the throat and stopping the hero in his tracks. That would be too kind. Instead, I am disabling your motor functions and your speech circuits, while making sure that your optical and audio receptors are still fully functional. Then I'll put you on display so that when your allies arrive here on Arakko, which I am certain they soon will, they will see how badly you have failed. And though you will wish to cry out and warn them to join the fight beside them, you will only be able to watch and listen as I use your own techno-organic virus to drain humanity from each and every one of them. That seems like a fair response to what you attempted here today. By the time Extron was done speaking, he had already finished what he had promised. Warlock had been completely immobilized and could not utter a word. Extron carried him over to a nearby wall which was already covered in the remnants of other mechanical entities he had conquered, and displayed his foe's motionless body like a trophy. All this talk of makers may be e'en to see my own, Extron said as he walked away from Warlock. Once Earth is finally mine, I will venture back in time to the era of my creation and show Henry Pym what I have become. Surely, once he sees how far I have evolved beyond his original hopes, he will not dare to reject me again. Extron's sympathetic smile began to glow once more. And if he does, I will show him the mercy he never showed me, by ending his flawed existence with my own hand. Now from this we can see the whole story of why Warlock was actually on Arakko, and we have seen him, people already posted on Twitter that it's Warlock in Arakko, and now we know why he's there and why he's not saying anything or doing anything. It's because of this battle that happened with Extron. So that is really interesting that it gets to this spot. Who's the Dominion Phalanx? So the Phalanx is a term for an artificial intelligence that operates on a galactic scale and has a total control of a host galaxy. A phalanx's soul's purpose is to expand its intelligence and control the means to do so. When a phalanx encounters a society worth adding to its collective intelligence, an ascension occurs by way of assimilation. So that is what they were trying to do here with when they came to Extron. However, he flipped the script and actually captured them. And their ultimate goal is to advance their own intelligence in the status of Titan and eventually Dominion. And these were the Dominion phalanx. Like, these were the top that they could be with their knowledge, adding, you know, more. And yeah, the fact that Extron was able to pretty much outsmart them, turn it on himself, is crazy. So guys, if you did enjoy that video, please hit that subscribe button for this lore video of Marvel Rivals and who is Ultron. If you want to see more of these videos, like who is another character, then let me know and I'll also make that video. So comment below what you think, what you thought of Ultron's lore, where you think the story's going to go. And yeah, like I said, please hit that subscribe button, trying to hit 400 subs, and I'll see you in the next one. Please leave any comments on how to improve these videos down below. Peace.